Nice. Ooh. Boom. All right. Sweet. We'll get some things rolling here. Yeah, what an interesting little couple days this was. Last nice bunch of volatility. Uh, that I really enjoyed. Um, Definitely was hanging on tight there for some of those entries, but you know, thankfully it wasn't too over leveraged, and I lived to tell the tale. So let's see what's going on. Right now you can see I booted up Pyth. We're just looking at what's going on here. I did see some. I just made a couple little boxes beforehand on the long call at 34 to 31, and then that short going from 56 to 54 up top. Looks pretty nice. You know, we are pretty close. Let's zoom in a bit more to that call. You know, I think we might get a nice retracement up, but I don't know. Some of these calls are pretty darn close. That makes me wonder a little bit. On the 1 day, if we look, we also kind of see that there's a confluence with the 4 hour and the 1 day, but a higher short. Let's say like 64. Let me make sure I get my line. And that higher short, 64 in the 1 day. You know, we're a little bit far out from that right now, so I'm kind of more curious about this 4 hour short. I would love to hit that first. That would be better. I like up only mode is preferred sometimes. Yeah, let's see. So I also have that invalidation line, which sits right above the long call. That would eliminate the short box here. And then we would continue up a bit. Looks like if we did hit that long below, it would try to fill this cup up here from 43, right around, yeah, here, and then up through this range too. So it's not the worst case. I would kind of be a nice fun trade to land there for Pyth. But yeah, not much other calls going for that. So I think the 4 hour was a fun scope to check out there. Let's see, another one a little more. I think I was a little more involved with this guy. Oof, that's a new one. Hell yeah. So yeah, wormhole. Let's boot this guy up here. Yeah, so personally, yeah, I think me and some other people had entered right around here. So let's put a little gold line there. Made sure to only do a little 2x leverage, so that kind of puts me at a lower liquidation here. But when I look at that, I do try to make sure that I am, especially when I do moves like this with a pretty volatile coin, I try to keep that above like a low wick too. Especially since this hasn't been out for as long, it's good to just note that we might retest some kind of big low like that, especially when it doesn't. It looks like it doesn't give a crap and just wants to dip down like that. No, I think this was an invalidation line for a long. Actually, yeah, for a different one. But I could see it popping up here again, and like I always kind of note, those invalidation lines really hold. They're an important piece of information, especially when I'm trying to do a long or something, or a short. But typically longs, I see they are really strong resistance that tend to get tested more than not. So again, when you're doing like some kind of lev trading, be careful not to get sniped there. I think people want to retest that low, kind of shake you out there, especially it did dip down below it. But you can see a lot of bouncing off of it there too. It's a lot of shakeout, because I mean, even for me, when I saw that breakdown, I'm like, okay, well, how low are we gonna go? And seeing that RSI is pretty cooked on the lows, the days was not. So technically, it did have some more room to dip, and that's why I was really keen on watching that 45 dip too, where I would have bought more, but I wasn't convinced to buy more here because I thought maybe hit would go lower. So I already put a little bag up here at the 55, so may as well do it. And I love how sometimes my longs end up acting as a resistance point. Woohoo! But that's, I mean, another good note. Sometimes Thor has, this was a 4-hour long call, I think, for 1 hour, and it did dip below that. And when you see signs that it, you know, dips below, or you don't use a little stop loss, you know, I'm a little more bold and not using a lot of stop losses, though I recommend doing that sometimes. But if I have the patience, I'll also just wait it out, just especially since how cooked it was. But yeah, sometimes it does kind of act as like a little short-term resistance, and or even longer term. But seeing a short call right here also is helpful. It helps me be a little more bullish on some of these movements. So it looks like, I think we did actually have a short call around the 54 that already hit its TP. So by me being a little stubborn, I did miss a nice little swing there that I was looking at. Not all the time, you know, that could be the best move, but sometimes being stubborn like that doesn't lose me money, but then I miss another trade. So there's two sides of the coin there. This one, the 15, has like a little slightly lower entry zone at 59, 61, and it looks like it might retest, you know, that you see that 55 coming in again. So maybe that's turning into more of a support to bounce off of. Now, if it did hit 60, I would love, you know, I think my TP was actually sitting around here, like 68, maybe 66. But, you know, 75 would be a great retest too. But, you know, I like to catch a little more intra swings too. So, so what we could see here is probably it trying to march up to that 60. A little short call there. Zooming out, I could see that being a bit of a little resistance zone too. So it's always good to zoom out and see kind of why Thor is giving that call, and seeing some points where we see it hits that and it kind of gets maybe rejected a few times. It could happen again, right? So that's probably why I'll probably reduce a bit of my bag there, and watch the movements. Maybe we do refill that cup at 62 and then dip down as well. That's always sometimes a thing to look out for. Let's see. Oh, probably before I do that, I should shout out this event in the chat. Oh, there it is. Oh yeah, Rumty's on it. Sweet. Right on. Cool, cool. Dank. And sweet, yeah, so that's what's going on with W trade that I was in. Okay, I guess some more people swooped in, but I was in a trade, entered here, went down here, bounced off into validation, hit another smaller call short. We already TP'd on that, and now hopefully we're looking at hitting that 60-cent line where I might reduce some of my bag, though, just in case it goes down, so I can soup some more, maybe making this resistance into a support once again, and then maybe we get another redemption wick, you know, going back up. But I'd like to TP more around that 68 to 66 zone. See what's going on with Solana, you know? Why not? See if we got any calls. Oh, yeah, it looks like all that movement knocked out a few of some trades, but I like to look back at some lines and see what Thor had done with them. The purple, as you know, is always that invalidation line. I don't know, that probably was a different call that we don't see anymore, kind of got invalidated probably when it dipped down. But you can see that it does serve as a nice resistance now at 160. I'm just going to go ahead and delete that now just to keep it a little more fresh. Having too many lines could get a little obnoxious. I will keep that, you know, I'll keep that 80 on there too. 180. 143 was important. 142. We didn't quite hit that. It almost looks like we got a little front ran on it. That's alright too. Get rid of that 52. So other than that, we still got that lower 68 call. You know, not a lot of Thor calls to really navigate at this point. So it seems like we're kind of stuck in this maybe a tighter range. I know this is green. I should probably do this. And actually, you know what? I think I'll keep that. Just change it to a red line. Now, Thor's not exactly calling it, but it was an invalidation line acting as resistance. So it's gonna, when I pass that, it's gonna also kind of be a sign to maybe we march up a little further, back to the 170s or 180 zone. Other than that, yeah, I'm not seeing too many crazy ones. I mean, of course, these are crazy. 270, 228. We're waiting, you know, we're waiting on that, and with a strong support at 118, that's going to hopefully, you know, keep us afloat. If we pass that, knocks these guys out. So, let's see. Yeah, not too much going on with that. Good old Solana, but I'm sure after the volatility, Thor is just crunching the numbers and seeing what our next move may be. So Bitcoin was a really fun one lately too. Doesn't have much left. Yeah, after a great volatile moves like that, we see a lot of calls getting erased. But what we did have from last week was some touch points on the 71. Crazy how, again, that's, I swear, sometimes those invalidation lines from that one, was that 68? I don't think that's there anymore. Darn. I'm pretty sure it was the 68 that curated the 71 invalidation line. But that's where it touched, you know, that was where we hit. And then it rejected down. We did have a short at, you can't see it anymore, but it was at right around this green line. Actually, the short was between like 69 and 70, and we dipped right down to the TP, which was at 66. That was TP1. There's a TP4, it's 64, and then 60, or you know, right around here, we had the third TP. But it looks like TP1 hit, and we went back up. Now, wonderful. You know, I think this is still hanging out from the 31st of May, the 73, 74, almost 75 zone. It's being held up by the 56 invalidation. We zoom out, it's hanging out there. 84. Weesh. I'm going to throw that on there because I would love to see that. But yeah, wild trade, because you could see some of these TPs, you know, also act as some interesting zones to just read out. You know, if I see confluence between numbers, like this is a short, but if we pass that short, right, this becomes the new goal line, you know, the new resistance zone. Then what was seen as a resistance at 72 could be a TP3 or TP2 that creates the exit point for that short, which in turn means it's a support line. It's invalid at 66, right? Well, what do you know? That number sounds familiar. It was a TP1 for a short, but now is acting as a support for that higher level call. So almost you want to zoom out a little bit too and see. It's just, Thor's thinking about this range now. Before we were kind of looking at, you know, 73, 74, 56 as our range. But now it's a little more, I'd say slightly more bullish if you want to look at it that way. As long as we don't break that 66, it's still a bullish case. Right now, you know, it could go either way still. It doesn't mean we're for sure going up here as the next move. But as long as it supports that 66, we could talk about how it could be hitting there, or even that 74. Of course, 74 is going to be the one we need to hit first. And we'll see where that retraces to, which is, you know, right around that zone. TP1 still above that 66 invalidation. So it's just kind of mixing these numbers together and making sure we can, you know, surpass those. And I think the 72, you know, these were reiterated. I don't think reiterated, but on the 8th of this month, that is 72. So 72 is a big line we need to cross, and I'm pretty damn sure there's a lot of shorts hanging out right in this zone. Yeah, so this is something that we'd probably need to kick out. Once we do that, you're going to probably see a lot of movements, especially when you're going to start seeing some liquidations up there too, which is probably that bullish case of breaking through some of those higher points. Yeah, we just have the 1 day, so there's not a lot of intraday trades. This is still going to be some long-term, little more macro movements. Now that the FOMC is done, you know, that little news shakeup, you know, and it was almost like a dovish kind of stale news still, so it wasn't bad, it wasn't super good, but, you know, the markets move that way. They like to shake you out on some news before it happens, so it's good to remember some patterns in that, because it tends to always happen. Every time I think it might be different, it happens again. Now, Jupiter was being interesting. I haven't really run through all these calls, so I'm going to be seeing them live with you guys. Didn't really review a bunch, so we're going to start with the 1 days. Nothing. I mean, I think again they're just reiterated, because it was just good to see. I'm pretty sure they were invalidated, but the invalidation zone was a bit higher. So Thor, I think, put these down again, and I already have the 85, so I'm pretty sure, you know, something made me write that. Maybe it was another long call or something like that, but here we are with that 85 as the new invalidation zone. Looks like we bounced off of 89 pretty decently, which, look at that, 89 is an invalidation zone too. And just for that reason, it is a 1 day, I will put that on there too. Just a couple sets for me to see if we do revisit the zone. I might try and buy here. This is when things get a little crazy, and, you know, that might be a good DCA point on those points there. But let's see. Looks like, yeah, we have a little more conversation about some other ones. These longs didn't go through. I think one did. I know I just left up that 106. That was a couple weeks before, and it did, I think, hit some TPs right around here, and it went back up. Yeah, I think that was right around this zone. So we hit that. Usually when they make their move, I like to take out some of those longs. And the 4 hour got the $2 and the 133. You know, we were still sitting there, familiar with that. Ooh-wee, look at that. So we need to break $1.02. Probably should get some new colors for like a, maybe, I don't know, I'll make it slightly more red in there or something, but this is going to be the long call sitting, which would kind of be a bummer for some of those other bullish shorts up here at like 130, you know, $2. Get rid of this guy. Yeah, so we got a $2 one up there, but yeah, so which you can see too was a good resistance point, and when I see it break something like that, that's maybe where I'll also long to, or maybe buy in a bit more too, because that is, if we're showing signs that it's becoming a resistance, breaking through that and bouncing off this invalidation line for a long, that's a resistance turn support, and then maybe that is a signal that we are having some upward movement towards maybe filling that cup to 12. And I gotta go down more, and we have an 89. Look at that. It's a 15-minute call made today. So makes you wonder sometimes, you know, that the short-term calls, though it's invalid at 97, we're very close to invalidating that actually. So being that close to invalidation doesn't shake me up too much. But again, that invalidation line, that conversation keeps on coming up. Looks like a great point for us to be rocking along there. So for me, what does this all mean? Let's get rid of that one. This all means gotta be aware that these lines may be retested again. You know, maybe it's not done going down. The RSI did go back up on the hour. Let's see the 4 hour. We're still not, you know, I mean, actually it's a little cooked at the bottom, so we might have some more upward movement. But I don't, you know, RSI isn't always an indicator I put all my money on, for sure. I like to see just lines getting passed and then the wicks bouncing off of it, you know. That's a good indication. Though the RSI does tell me a lot, and I do like to see volume with it too. The volume's got to be there, or else sometimes it's not a really good move with confluence. Yeah, so altogether, I check out that 89 line. If we hit that again, that would be badass to rock. And because it was just a 1 hour. That was 82 actually. Sorry. 89 was a 15. Yeah. 89 was a 15. 82. But like I said, hopefully we break that line. But if not, just be aware that if you do have leverage and whatnot, this is a good warning. It's like a good sign that say, hey, I really don't want you guys to get liquidated. Just be aware of that. I've seen it happen so many times where someone hits, you're literally sitting there for liquidation, it like taps just a couple points over, and then there you go, you're wiped out. Then we see it just marching back up and had a total great move that, you know, you're sitting out on minus your collateral. So it's great to have these lines and numbers to be aware of. Now, as I sit here, we do have a bunch of calls going on. I don't know if you guys in the chat had any particular ones you wanted to check out. Oh. Oops, I don't know what happened there. This got pushed out. Now, let's see. Hopefully yeah, that's still running. Cool. But yeah, at this point, I know there's a couple of you guys in there, just seeing if you wanted to had a certain coin that you wanted to look at. There are bunches, like 33. I went through about 4 of them so far. You know, we got Arboretum, Algo, Doge, Ethereum, you know, Optimism. Feel free to shout out if you want to look at one of those. Otherwise, we're going to keep on trucking. Nice. Ethereum. You know, that was a big move I was hoping we would hit. And I should draw. Yeah, I did draw it. Get rid of these guys. But we did draw their invalidations pretty far. This is a pretty wide-ranged call. 380. 3800. This was a pretty good one. I wish I got in on it. That would have been a solid movement down from a previous short call that I had put up here. And that had hit. We saw it go back down. I think it had, I forget when it was put in, but, you know, after that kind of violent moves down, sometimes, you know, it doesn't work out. Now, we're going to be putting another short here. Makes sense because it's going to be filling that bit of a cup. And when you zoom out on a higher time frame, you can see that is something perhaps waiting to be filled. Though we might see some more sideways movement for a little bit. Hitting that 380 will put us back right down. 3800 will put us back down to the 36 or 355 zone where we are now. So it looks like up. like a little lower high, if you will, which isn't the most bullish. I'm curious where this ends, right? That's 34, 31 is what would knock this call out. I haven't really been trading Ethereum much lately. I've been kind of focused on some other ones with just more swings. This has kind of been, we're in the day chart, so it hasn't given me a lot of volatile moves to take advantage of, which is fine, but sometimes it's just, you know, a little boring. But, you know, boring trades seem to be some of the most fun when they come, when you finish them out. Yeah, so not many calls sitting on Ethereum. I'm going to jump over to Bonk. Let's see, I think get a little meme coin time. A little Bonk. Let's see there. I think that was a 15-minute short. I don't think that, I think that kind of busted through. This one day, yeah, that's what I want to shout out. Bring us up. I think we should be aware of that. Oof. I'll put it at 69. Nice little short at 69, and I'm guessing that this invalidation is going to be riding this last wick, 24.5. Yep. So, again, we had some previous ones that I had left up, but we're going to take these guys out. Now, there is no long call, so if you want, it is a nice little thing to do is check out where these lines are, and if you're trying to make up some trades, again, like I said, the invalidation is nice, though if we do cross that a little lower, it might be a more bearish case for Bonk. Eliminating this one-day high that was done about 3-4 days ago. That would be an awesome range. I mean, let's be, where is that? It's tripping now. A nice 140% move. Do I think this is going to be in for a day? No. I don't think we're going to get there like immediately tomorrow. But it's a nice, hopeful sight to see. Something that I'd be really into happening. Arboretum, yeah, so not much going on there. Maybe that invalidation might be a good point to be buying in. I want to go too hard on it. Maybe we might get some more short-term calls to check out, which is why it's always good to refresh, check, see what's up, or use the Telegram bot that Sile just threw up in the last weeks. That's been really fun to just ping out, seeing if there's any calls waiting, so I don't have to always load up the computer or something, and check it out. Really helpful. I think he recently put something where you could write active in there too, so you can, it will post up like Gib active, and then you'll see all the active trades available going on for all the coins you can see, you know, available to you and your tier. This one day, this has been going on for since, I mean, it hasn't been going on since the end of March, but I think we hit these zones right around, yeah, it was April. We tapped down. I think that's why I started this trade. It's been a fun little ride so far. We're retesting that low. This could be really good. That's a double retest on a long term, that where we get a little bounce off of that. Bounce here, and hopefully there. Because, woof, I keep saying that. Ooh, let's go to ARB. That is a very nice gap and a nice boring trade to be a part of. I think I'm just sitting at like 0.75 leverage in that wallet, so I do have room to maybe buy lower if we do need to go there. Yeah, we're still left with two calls, the 150 short and that one day. But why I left some is I think my average, I pushed it down from like 99, I think it got down to, you know, right around the 96 zone. But, you know, I want to leave some fodder for if we do retest this low of 88 cents. that would really help, you know, my average there too, and hopefully on a continued movement, just have more to sell as we hit some other points that might pop up here. One thing I did, you know, we got to be acknowledging our mistakes. I think I was moving, so I wasn't really by the computer, but I should have put in some short. I should have DCA'd out a little bit around the 20. There's calls around 20 and 24 for shorts. That was a great, you know, 20% move. I could have exited some out of, had even more to DCA lower. Now, you can't win them all the swings, but hey, I think it was really important just to note that, hey, maybe sometimes it is okay to shave off some of that bag uh, because, you know, retracements do happen. But I'm really stoked to see that we were able to hold this zone even when we had some of that deep, more volatile movement south. Just making sure the Discord's still alive and not being weird. But yeah, of course, chat, feel free to shout out, you know, any kind of calls you want to see. I need to check the chat here too, just in case. Cool. Nice. Now, yeah, let's see. We got a lot of calls to go through. Now, oof, what has been fun. You know, Sile and a lot of us in the DGen chat. Oh, there's no calls? Damn. All right, so there's no calls in injection, but I think a lot of people have been jumping on around the $26 zone. Now, I will say, I wish we all had, you know, I wish we all had it, but there is, he's got access to this good old 1 week calls. Whew. Yeah, and those 1 week calls, I could, oh, nice, you could see some points. Yeah, that 26 was there. And we kind of bounce between those two, get rid of this invalidation. But get rid of that. So yeah, a lot of entries in the chat. I should have jumped on it, but I was focused on some other trades. Went here. Now, I believe 54 is a really long-term goal for a bunch of people doing the good old boring trades. And there's some in between, but I think I saw like 70 as well. So now, what does that mean? Let's zoom out more. Yeah, so that would be some all-time highs for it, which I would actually see this here and maybe pump this down. So everyone's really trying to fill this 52 cup up. So maybe not buy it now. Maybe watch for that $26 zone again. You know, maybe watch for when you retest the zone too. Because I'm seeing a lot of calls, and sometimes you don't have a call there, but I had a previous one from a couple weeks ago here. So I also can get like a grip on what the market's trying to do by seeing a bunch of other calls. Usually they, you know, not all of them are correlated. In correlated movements, some of them decouple and do whatever they want. But for the most part, you'll see these big moves that happen are all kind of grouped together. So the market moves together a lot of the time. So when I'm able to look at a bunch of different calls and see maybe some shorter term ones and where they're at, where they're telling us, I could see maybe the market sentiment, you know, that comes through. That might be also a cool, maybe a data input that we could suggest. Sile on a coffee break. Maybe Thor could tell us maybe a market sentiment. That would be really cool to see, you know, seeing if we're, you know, that greed or everyone's scared, you know, the fear and greed index would kind of be cool to see on different time frames, you know. Definitely gonna write that down in some ideas. But anyways, what am I looking at? What is fun? Whiff. We all like another good little meme coin. Let's see what we got. Whiff. Oh boy, yeah. Some of these were little shorter term calls that did bounce, but we're just gonna wipe all those out. Ooh, I should leave that because that's another good point. This was an awesome one. Wish I took it. Again, sometimes you can't catch them all, you know. Son of a gun. I'll leave this lower one here too. 24. Actually, I'll make this an invalidation now. 2.43. 2.43 is the invalidation for the short 1 hour call, which could serve as a retest of the previous long. Now, what was a long turned into resistance. So we can still piggyback off some other calls we got. This was a call today. So I'd like to see short-term calls when they're fresh, like the 15s, the 1 hours. That really tells me that we got some, this is a live movement. When it's a 15-minute call and it's been a week, I start not really, I don't want to say paying attention to it, but it's not as appeasing to me as some of the newer ones, because I feel like the market does consistently move. So the snapshot 2 weeks ago on a short-term call might not be what we're experiencing in this moment. So again, that's another way I like to use Thor, is seeing those fresh calls. Anyways, that might be another good move to check. I don't think, let's see when this call was made. I know it's UTC time, so just one moment as I look at my phone for UTC. Let's see, UTC is 11:40 right now, PM. So this was made 2 in the morning. It's about, let's say, 12 hours ago. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it did try. I like to see that too. How close did we get to a call and when it was made? So sometimes someone see this gap as it being not front ran, but this could have been what this tried to imply. It got close, but sometimes it doesn't always hit the zone perfectly. I've seen this in longs too, where we skimmed a couple percents above it, and it continues that movement. So where it was that it hit back down was 59. So this looks like the movement it was trying to describe, so maybe we already did that move, but doesn't mean it won't repeat that same move again too. So that's something really big to watch out for. The repeated move could go up a little higher and repeat it, but I'm kind of wary about going too hard in the paint when we're hitting that big one up there too. Now we see the 15, it correlates to that too. So yeah, it looks like the whiff, got the 15 little short time frame calls, may have already hit in its own way, but we might see a nice little retest as well. Also, looks like some great resistance on the 20 or 2.4 mark there, which could serve as a nice little entry for a long. And if it doesn't invalidate it, you could see maybe a retrace to that move as well. Let's see. And the Sol BTC, I haven't been hitting this one up enough. Let's see if we got some calls. Cool. We still got some calls there. This is what the little Thordinal calls we have here. This is something that I've been in a trade for quite some time. I did take this long here weeks ago. I did have a great move before where I got to buy this invalidation at 20 and the 21, made it back up to I did get that little wick up there. That was a pico wick that I was able to trade, but you can't win them all. And this green line is one I kept just to mark where I put some back in, and I bought from Bitcoin back into Solana here, and then now I'm back into Solana at the 21. So my average is sitting right around the 24 or 25, because I kind of went 50-50 there, and I think a little bit down on some of these 20s as well. So we're kind of floating around, bouncing off my entry as like a resistance. I get lucky like that sometimes, but what we see here, and I think this corresponds, so if you do have these calls, you'll see that there are some low BTC calls, like the 40K zone. We need to break the 72 to get rid of it. Solana has a 1 day at like 65. That's another reason why maybe we're seeing this 0.009. Oof, like it's kind of scary low. Be like 50% hit on my trade, which wouldn't be cool if we did that. So I'm really looking to build this break through this wick right up here on this correlated move to destroy that bearish sentiment there. So we need some more Solana dominance on Bitcoin. I think that would be really helpful. And you can see this. I've left this on for a few weeks as I haven't touched back. Oh yeah, 521. So it did hit that entry, and we might be going up to here again. I might, switch out. Maybe I might DC out a little bit of my trade to catch some lower ones. Though the shorts, these have been active since the beginning of May. I'm really trying to TP around there. So I did have an entry. I think my long call is gone, as it's been invalidated. But I really want these as my target points because I'm not really shorting Solana BTC pair. I'm just switching out of it. So this is kind of a call to say, hey, get back into BTC with that Solana, and then get more BTC out of that trade. I love trading against these pairs. It's really nice. Oh, and look at that, the 21. I haven't posted on this for a while now, but that 21 came active again. So it's probably what we actually just saw it do. I don't know why it didn't go active. I guess it's a little higher. Huh. Yeah. Oh, looks like it point. Oh, just by like a little tick, like a small little tick. That's why it's not saying active. Interesting. 4 hour, also another 31, 28, and 25.6 actually. This should be something I look at too myself. As, I'm going to put that up there. Oops. What's that, 25.9? Yeah, let's do 25.9. And look at that. That was my, that was my entry turned resistance. So, hey, not a bad move for me. In a trade, I wouldn't say it's totally failing, but it's not the best outcome. This is a super macro moves for me, so this is in a different bag of me trading my long-term Solana and Bitcoin together. But we can see that I would probably, since I DCA'd down my average, exiting here is a little bit above my entry, so wouldn't be a bad move for me to leave here. And then we retrace back down, and I could just buy back around one of these TPs. I might, or I may just wait for another one, but it looks like this already hit, even though it doesn't say active. That's why it's good to see the chart, check the time, the date, and see if we did get close to that move. And it looks like, we got a little close. Sometimes relative distance looks hard on the charts, so I like to drag that price range. And yeah, you missed it by like 1%, right? So I'd say it is hitting that move, kind of going through. And that's when you check the TPs as well. 22, 2, yeah, we've already hit, say, that TP for this move. So yeah, it's a good zone to keep on my chart, but I'm not really too crazy about jumping into that again. I got a 1 hour to 21. Yeah, that looks like it's just a correlated with the 4 hour. I love to see 1 hour and 4 hours with the same thing. It's good to see 15 in 1 hour. You see that a lot. But when I see that 1 hour and 4 hour getting called, it seems like it's a quicker move, but has confluence with the 4 hour chart or time frame. And so it's kind of backed up with a big macro move and a little short-term movement too. So I get a little excited when I see that. In my trade to definitely try to mark that down. Let's see. Dope. And once again, if anyone else has any other coins they wanted to see, check out. I mean, you got SWI, SHIB, Sand, Rune, Render, Optimism. See what looks good. I always like Render. What we got? Still a bit of the same. I think we did have some longs that actually got activated. Probably, I think it was like 840 or something. I think that's where I saw some going through. So we saw it kind of dip down below it. Sometimes it goes away because it dipped a little too far. Thor has a little stop loss that kind of cleans the board from those calls, but looks like it hit that move. So that's a pretty nice movement. They have really nice swings at render. So it's another one I've been really digging. That and Wormhole lately has been my favorite swings. Especially when you have those lower time frame calls, I usually am hanging out with it. But I got scared out of doing a bunch of short time frame calls from render because I see these 4 hours shouting out, that 7.6 to 7.4, that little box down here. Inversely, it still has a 1-day call for a 12.5-ish zone. So there's both bullish and bearish cases hitting out there that I'd like to see kind of happen. And what else we got? XRP, anything? Yeah, let's see. I haven't looked at AVAX in a while either. Oh, we just have the 1 days, but hey, let's check it out. See if we're close to anything. Oh, yeah, haven't revisited this in a while. Let's clean it up. So we got a 1-day call at 20. Let's go to like 21 or let's see, 22. $22. See, this has some nice ranges in their 1 days too. It's a bit. Yeah, that was another TP that I had previously, but now it is a short and 65, 64. Nice. Not too bad. And then I think for these kind of calls, this is where it gets pretty fun. For the invalidation zones. Once again, that might be a great entry for me. I don't see too many, so the 22 is pretty far, but if I wanted to get my feet wet with this trade, I would be looking into jumping in around that $58 zone. Oh, sorry, 30.58 cents. And as you can see, really nice support there. Which, if it passes that, we knock out the short calls, and maybe head on to the $22 range here, where this little coupling is. Those moves are pretty wild though. If you did hit this and the 48, you got 115%, right? Eesh. Or, what if we hit that and we go to the short? That's still a 68% move. AVAX has, I think, a lot of, almost got a little head and shoulders thing going on here too. On the day, for me, I like to, I think it's down so much from its local top, and I don't think it's a useless coin. So, yeah, I think I might, maybe do some spot trading right around here. Might be picking up some AVAX once we reach that point again. Looks like I should have been aware of that yesterday. But, yesterday was wild and I was hyper-focused on some other things. Hard to see everything at our disposal here. But that's a pretty fun move and a call I would keep on my mind too. So like 22 and $30, a great entry. I think we knocked out our $12 case here. So yeah, 30 bucks, 22. Good entries for AVAX. And even spot. This is a great spot trade. Because if you see 50% or 100%, like, yeah, I'd say that's a worthy spot. And of course, we see crazy moves too, so being too leveraged in something like that, I wouldn't highly recommend, but hey, that's all up to you at the end of the day. See Doge. I think we're checking on some coins today. This 1 day calls. What everyone says, oh, when retail comes in, Doge is gonna go. Doge is the first to move up. I mean, sure, but I get so occupied with other things that well, sometimes I kind of ignore it. But it has some decent moves. Looks like the 10 cent, and I'm always mindful of the range. This I wouldn't probably get into. 11 cents to 13. It's a couple percents fun, but I'd be waiting for the 7 or 10 cents that it's got shown for me. There is a little, if there is a, what is that? A little Dex or something like that that will allow me to short those. I'm probably hella down to do that here, though. The range isn't all too good. That's why I guess I haven't really been interested. It hasn't been super volatile either in this past month or week. Just a lot of flatline movement. We see this a lot with some other coins too, but that's why I try to find the ones that are really, shaking it up. Like I'm gonna go back to W as I did in the beginning of this stream. W. When you compare that to something like this, wormhole, sorry. Yeah, wormhole has got some swings. It's a little wildly a bit more volatile. Hasn't been obviously on the market as long. So look at it a little more in the 4 hour. But yeah, we get those swings up, down. We go up and right back down. And hey, we're down again. RSI is cooking on the lows on the 4 hour. And obviously I don't, like I said before, I don't always, put all my money onto the RSI, but I do like to see the patterns it creates down there too when we're in these moves. So last time it hit here, we did have a great movement back up. This is even lower, this little median line, the yellow line. It's brought us lower, trying to touch that 30. I think if you're patient enough, you'll see some movement up. And like I said before earlier, the 60 is going to be a good zone to maybe get out of that. I'm looking for more 68, 75 on my trade, so I'm down to hang out for a bit longer. But yeah, that's the trade I'm in. The two big ones is that W trade and the Arboretum. Of course, I got some other coins and stuff in spot, but I'd say the bigger swings that I'm looking for is Arboretum and Wormhole. Those seem to be some fun coins that have some nice movement, and I don't think they're worthless coins or straight up meme, so I don't think they're all just going to crash down to zero. So they at least have some use case, right? Yeah, I think unless anyone has any more questions, I think that's where we're landing here. We went through a bunch of coins today, and I think we set up some good moves and how to navigate them using Thor. So unless anyone has any other questions, we'll probably just end it there.